Well, now it would appear I've gone and done it. 4 more projects. And I'm going to do something I don't do very often, and that is take a look at all of them in one video. I guess we'll start here with this Sun Microsystems box, because it's probably one of the 2 more interesting machines. When I first saw it, I thought that it was one of the Spark machines, or I was hoping it was going to be one of the Ultra Spark machines, because I just saw the side of it. I didn't see the front. But unfortunately, that's not the case. This is one of the last gasp Intel-based systems with the Xeon processor. It does at least have a DVD-RW drive in it. 2 FireWire ports and the USB. And the front lattice grille. It is an Ultra 27, that is the model. And it's in okay condition. I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also not that bad. There's a power supply. I think this is an ACBEL power supply. It was on a lot of these. There's an extremely sparse I/O shield. 4 USB ports, Ethernet, and audio, and that's it. This is a standard I/O shield, so you could put a standard motherboard in here. It's a PNY branded video card. PCI Express. And a PCI parallel card, for some reason. Unscrew the side panel and probably have it fall and hit me in the foot. Let me see. This doesn't want to come off. I don't remember how this works. If you slide it back, yes. 2 hands, pretty much a requirement on this one. Taking a look inside, and yes, that is an ACBEL power supply with some 80 plus ratings, believe it or not. I'm mildly surprised to see that. Looks like the RAM is maxed out. Don't know how much RAM it's actually got in it, but probably like 6 gigs. Not 100% sure. It's got a massive fan in the back there, but curiously no fans in the front. Here's your video card, complete with Crapo fan on that. That I'm sure it grinds like it's making coffee. There is the PCI slot with the parallel port card on it. It's actually got a card cage baffle here. And all the SATA cables on that going to this back plane. Which again is fine. You could just repurpose that for another board, because they're just standard SATA connections. There's nothing really special about them. I do have 1 drive caddy, but there's no drive, of course. I had to surrender that as a condition of my taking the system. But at least unlike that SGI thing that's sitting over there, they left me the caddy, or I was able to keep the caddy. I do have a lead. I know where I could get a few more of these. Interesting thing here. It says, do not mix SATA and SAS disks. Do not install SCSI or fiber channel disks. The interesting thing about this is that this would take, it looks like anyway, it would actually take SAS disks. That is a SAS backplane. But this only has serial ATA on it, so that's kind of pointless. I guess you could install a host bus adapter, or an HBA, is what it would otherwise be known as. Install an HBA that will let you use the actual serial attached SCSI. If I'd have remembered that these were SAS, I could have had some drives for this. Oops. But it'll probably take standard serial ATA anyway, and just realized there's only 4 drive bays on this. I thought there were 5. Well, oh well. So I'm going to go plug this thing in, and we'll see if it'll do anything. Alright, here we go. Let's see if it does anything, or if it just blows up. Well, haven't done anything yet. Nothing. Interesting. Well, I think that's the end of the line for that. Before we've even started, because it is not powering on. And I don't know, I don't know where the issue could possibly be. Because I've changed the power supply. Still won't turn on. I've tried unplugging the front panel connector. Still won't turn on. So I don't know if there's an issue up here somewhere on this front panel board, or what the deal might be. The front panel connector is here. There could be broken solder joints on that. Some of those don't look very good, but I don't know. But I'm going to set this one aside and move on because I just don't have forever. So it might be a candidate for an actual rebuild. I might put another motherboard in here. I haven't really decided yet. Moving on to the next one. It's a beige case. Kind of an interesting design. Is it actually open? I don't think I broke it. It is ATX. There's 2 optical drives in there, a Sony rewritable, and some 40-speed drive there. Floppy drive installed, of course. Power supply. Pretty standard stuff. I don't know what that actually says. Oddcomp Computer Systems in Hamilton, Ontario, May 4th of 1998. This video, it's got 2 serial ports there, in addition to the 2 integrated serial ports. I wonder if those are even hooked up. I really kind of doubt it, but I'm going to have to get the screwdriver. And this could be painful because I think I've got 6 screws I got to pull out because this is another one of those machines where the whole shell just comes off. I really hate that design. Alright, taking a look inside. We have an A-open power supply. So that's an Acer power supply, basically. These are drives, IDE. There's no audio connector for those. Floppy drive, looks like a Fujitsu hard drive with an 80-pin ribbon cable. That's kind of weird. Thought this would be a little bit too old for that, but okay, speaker. There is a slotted processor. I believe that's a Pentium 3. It's 450 megahertz. I can tell you that. Let's see if it just completely blind the camera. Yeah, that didn't help, did it? There we go. 512K cache, 100 megahertz front side bus, 2 volts. I think that's a Pentium 3. It's only got 1 stick of RAM. That's kind of crappy. But it would take 4. Huh. What motherboard is this? P3B-F. I do have another one of these sitting around. Maybe I'll just combine them into one. That's probably what I'll do. I wonder if the other one even has a faster processor. What is this? Turbo LED? Yeah, this doesn't have a turbo functionality. It's too new for that. Who made this video card? Oh, well, the world will never know. Well, I guess I'll know when I power it on, but unless that sticker says something about it. No, just a serial number and a part number. Oh, Diamond Viper. It looks like that's what that says. V550 ATX. I don't remember what that's based on, but probably like a GeForce 2 at best, if anything. The interesting bit, though, is that that's not a serial card. At least I don't think that's a serial card. I don't know what this is. It says Scientific Solutions on it. With an 8255 controller. might have to take that out at some point. That's actually an 8-bit ISA card. Take that out and take a look at that and see just what it happens to be. Because I'm kind of interested at this juncture what that is. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this out. I'm probably not, like, I'm not going to put it back anyway, because it's not really going to serve much of a purpose for anything that I would ever do with this. But I kind of want to know what this is. Let me see here. Get this out of here. Oh, it's kind of loose. Does it say anything on the back? No, it does not. Other than Part 15 rule. It complies with Part 15 rules. That's pretty much it. DADIO Revision F, copyright 1982, Scientific Solutions Company. I think those are standard serial ports, though, so I don't know. Not 100% sure what this is. Maybe somebody can tell me a little bit about it. 2, 4 zeros, and 8. That's what that says. I wonder if it'd work better if I turned the video light off. Yeah, it would if it would focus on it. There we go. Alright, let me get a cover for that. Let's put a slot cover on that. And then we'll power this one up, if it works. Alright, I got it hooked up. Put the side panel back on because I don't really want to wrestle with that in a tight space like this. Looks like that says FabLab Ellipsometer PG. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what FabLab means. I can tell you that. I actually used to work in the FabLab. But I don't remember seeing this in there. So I don't know, maybe this was a spare or something. Well, it didn't immediately explode. So that's good. I haven't had that happen in a long time, so if I seem a little apprehensive of a computer blowing up, that's why. Now, one of those optical drives is bad. 16 meg Diamond Viper TNT, I think is what that said. Yep, Pentium 3, 450, 256 megs of RAM. Hardware monitor found an error. Enter power setup menu for details. And we'll hit delete to enter the setup utility. Enter password. Well, I'm not going to know what that is. Great, I'm going to have to pull the friggin' panel off of that again. Well, that's mildly annoying. There's no clear CMOS jumper on this board. And I don't know where, because the manual says short pins to clear the CMOS. They're supposed to be somewhere in the vicinity of that Asus chip that's right there. But I don't see them. So I just did the next best thing. I pulled the battery out. I'm surprised that battery's good. No, it generally helps if you turn the power on. I wonder which one of these optical drives is dead. Ah, it's that one. Yeah, it's got a bad tray belt. Floppy disk failed. CMOS checksum error. Hardware monitor found and a problem. So let's see here. Let me see. Fujitsu MPA 3035. So that's what, a 3 gig roughly? Yeah, probably a 3.5 gig hard drive. Sony CDRW BCD. I don't know what that is, but it seems like it's dead. Pentium 3 450. CPU level 2 cache ECC check. Huh. I don't want to enable that because I don't know if that's actually going to be the right option. That's something that I should enable. That looks fine. PCI, no IRQs assigned. ROM shadowing. That's something you used to have to worry about a little bit more back in the old days of computing, but by the time this thing was made, most of that was just plug and play. So let's see. Power management. I'll leave it alone. Power up control. AC power loss restart is set to disabled. Now I'll go ahead and I'll probably leave that alone. Or set it to previous state. I always turn the wake on LAN on. Not that it matters in this case. Hardware monitor. CPU at 25, motherboard at 13. No JTPWR. Probably a thermal sensor for the power supply. I did see that on this board. Somewhere around there. I think it's that set of pins right there. Perhaps. I'm not 100% sure. Well, beep yourself. CPU fan speed. Huh. No minus 12 volts? Or minus 5? Now, I can never get it straight which one is actually missing from the ATX standard. I think it's the minus 12. So that makes sense, but both of them probably shouldn't be missing. I'm just going to go ahead and set them both to ignore, I guess. Exit saving changes. That is really annoying. Diamond Viper TNT. So that's an NVIDIA Riva TNT card. Yeah, floppy drive is also bad. It's not a shock. Let's see if it boots into anything. Windows 98 is now starting your MS-DOS based program. Huh. What is this? Philips Analytical. Oh, it just rebooted. So I don't know. I guess there's no real way to get out to Windows 98 on that. But definitely interesting. Let's move on with the next machine, though. Alright, I went ahead and I moved this just straight over here. This is another one of these cases. This is an Antec case. I forget the exact model, but I've had a couple of these come through my hands, and all of them have been in some kind of state of disrepair. This one's missing the front panel door and a bunch of the slot, or the 5 1/4 inch bay covers, but that's fine. As far as the actual system is concerned, it's probably nothing too special or worth really writing about. I'd like to know who made this cooler. This is an aftermarket cooler. I think it's been installed incorrectly. It almost looks like something that Arctic Cooling would make. Yeah, I was right. In fact, I was even right on the model. I was going to suggest that it was an Arctic Cooling Freezer 7 Pro. Sure is. I haven't seen one of those in ages. I don't know why they installed it like that, but Well, here you go. I can't really say much. I've installed coolers like that before, thinking that I was doing the right thing. I have no idea what this motherboard is, because I think the model number is being covered by the heatsink on that GPU there. It's an Asus board, I can tell you that much. It's probably some P5K of some description. All the RAM slots are maxed out. Might have 4 gigs of RAM, probably 4 gigs of RAM. It's got an OCZ power supply. I haven't seen one of these in ages either. I think they went out of business. But yeah. What is that, a 500 watt? Yeah, 500 watt, it says. Even though the interesting thing is that the combined power doesn't add up to 500 watts. I guess it does, technically. Because that and that, those are both 500. I have no idea how good it really is. There's no hard drive. I didn't even get the screws for the hard drives. What a jip. Well, oh well. You could just use normal screws with that. In fact, I might even take these rubber grommets out and use normal screws, because those rubber grommets are starting to deteriorate and turn into goop. I don't know, what VGA port should I use? The actual VGA or this adapter? Maybe I'll use the adapter, just because the adapter is there. This is going to get dismantled because I do plan on using this for a practical purpose at some point, but I don't know when that's going to be. It could have hooked up the DVI. Probably would have worked just fine. I think this has PS2 on it. Yeah, it's got PS2. So this isn't going to really do much either, because there's no operating system since there's no hard drive. But I am kind of curious what this is spec-wise. So, well, no explosion yet. It's also dead, man. Completely dead. Huh. Actually, there's an LED on that power supply. So is the power supply bad, or what's the deal here? Let's take a look. Front panel connectors. Now is when it's going to explode in my face. Just watch. I think those are plugged in, though. Hard to say. Well, there's an LED. Whoa. Wasn't expecting that. It does work. P5B. J-Micron PCI Express to SATA 2 adapter. Overclocking failed. Please enter setup to reconfigure your system. What fan is bad on this? I'm gonna regret this. They're both bad. Yeah, they're both definitely bad. Anyway, let's press F1, enter setup. Battery is toasted. No shock there. IDE configuration. It does support AHCI. Information. Core 2 Duo E6300 with 5 gigs of RAM for some reason. I don't know how that ended up happening. So one of those must be a 2 gig module. In fact, yeah, one of those looks a little different. Two of those look a little different. I don't know, are there... can't be. 2 4 gigs and 2 512s? I guess it's possible. But yeah. Not much else to really see here with this. We just power it off. Does seem like it's working, sort of. Does the optical drive work? And it does. That's neat. Front panel bling bling is plugged in. So, yeah. This is probably going to get stripped. I do think I got something in mind for this board. It'll probably actually end up in that case down there, because that was the one that I put that Gigabyte EP45 board in, and that board has failed completely at this point, so not really helpful, but that's it for that. Let's take a look at the last one. Ah, here we go. This is the one that you all came here on this video to see, I'm sure. This one is the oldest, definitely the most interesting. I believe it's some kind of Pentium machine. 486, but probably closer to a Pentium. Exactly which Pentium, I'm not sure. It looks like it had a fan mounted to the side of it at one point. You can actually see the CPU in there. I think it's socket 7. It looks like socket 7 just from a quick glance. So it'd be a Pentium of some kind, or like a socket 5 or whatever. There's a video. And it's a bus mouse connector right there. So that's probably an ATI video card. My camcorder is running out of battery again. Hopefully it will last through the rest of this video. There's Ethernet, I think. Looks like an SMC Ethernet card. That's a SCSI host adapter. And that's a multi-IO. It's got a PS2 port on it. Keyboard. Well, there's 2 serial ports and a parallel port up there. And there is, of course, your power supply and the keys for the key lock. Kind of surprised to see that. Alright, I think there's only 1 screw in the back to get that case covered off. Alright, let's see. What do we have here? Well, there's a Fortron source power supply. 230 watts, it looks like. Obviously, baby AT. This motherboard. What is this motherboard? Wait a minute, that's not socket 7. That's socket 8. That's a Pentium Pro, I think. Not 100% sure, but it's the first socket 8 system I've ever owned. They're using the parallel SCSI here, I think, for the optical drive and the hard drive. I don't know what that hard drive is, but I guess I'll find out in a bit. This video card is indeed an ATI. ATI Graphics U/V. It's an ISA card. That's kind of a waste. So that'd be the first thing that gets upgraded on this. SMC Ethernet. And I don't know what Adaptec card that is, but it's definitely there. Who manufactured this motherboard? I have no idea. I don't see any identifying markings. It does have an integrated IDE controller. Well, just as I thought was going to happen, the stupid camcorder decided to die, but I did find 1 more battery. Hopefully it's good enough to get me through this video. But I've got pretty much everything plugged into this that I need, except for the power. So, if any of these are going to blow up, it's going to be this one. I don't know when the last time this saw power was. what it would have even been used for, if anything. Oh, here we go. Pentium Pro 133. That's a loud hard drive. 64 megs of RAM. I don't know why it's testing the RAM 3 times. Okay, plug and play BIOS. Okay. Now the Adaptec BIOS didn't load. Press delete to enter setup. Wow, that's a loud hard drive. Listen to that. What I need is an option ROM. USB controller. Huh. Hard disk drive, low-level format. Let's go ahead and just save and exit. We're going to go ahead and skip the memory test. That floppy drive sounded awesome. Alright, AHA 2940. Is it going to go any further? That's a Quantum hard drive and a Toshiba CD-ROM. It's actually a caddy loading CD-ROM. Starting PC DOS. There's our host bus adapter. Loading system console. Novell NetWare, oh god. Huh. Wow. Yikes. Bound to digital DC. That's not what that is. That Ethernet card. It's mounting a bunch of volumes. No hard drive LED. Not on there anyway. See that one though. How many volumes does this piece of crap have on it? Okay. Is that it? Yeah, this is a server? Maybe this is a server. Is there a shutdown command? Turn this off. You must down the server. It's been so long since I've used NetWare. Okay. Which one is the turbo switch? I don't want to accidentally hit reset. It's the one there. Type exit to return to DOS. Alright. What else does this have on it? Anything? Not really. Just Novell NetWare server. On top of PC-DOS version 6.1. I didn't even think to check and see what that was actually running, but at least we have an idea and we know that the system is functional. We'll have to replace that battery, and that is just it's an ST Microelectronics branded version, but that's just a Dallas module. Nothing more, nothing less. So, candidate for some upgrades. I hadn't plugged in the hard drive LED there properly. Just as a conclusion, you can see that doing its thing now, as it's supposed to. The turbo doesn't seem to be doing anything. It's kind of interesting. I wonder if this is like a directory server. There we go. DC21X4 Ethernet EISA. I don't think that's what that is. But the hard drive LED works. Here you can get an idea for what's on the drive. Sorry, the size of the drive. Well, anyway, that's pretty much it for that. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. And we'll go ahead and shut down this video as well. Hope you enjoyed the 4 computers, and stay tuned, of course, because there will almost certainly be updates to be had.